YouTube, it's time you and me discuss something. I realize the lighting is crappy and I sound like this and my face, and I'm in a different area here, but ignore all that for now. It's time you and me had the relationship talk. I want to discuss something that's kind of, I don't know, I guess it's weird for me to talk about. I realized just the other day that in a little, like, over a year, I lost the love of my life and the person who I hoped would replace the love of my life. And I guess I'm just not good at relationships. Romantic ones. Or any kind of relationship, really. Sorry, I still have the flu. But, my most recent relationship, there were a lot of problems with it. I realize now that it's something that needs to be talked about. Me and my ex dated for probably 2 months at best. He was really kind and romantic and the picture of a perfect Prince Charming the whole time, and for a number of reasons, maybe that's not what I needed, or whatever, and there were a lot of reasons that going into this relationship might not have been the right idea, but he was someone that I could genuinely see myself settling down with and having a family with. He may not have been the love of my life. Even at that time, I didn't think he was the love of my life. I knew he wasn't. But he was someone I could see myself settling for. And that was comfortable for me. I guess now, looking back and knowing this information, it's a big red flag to get out of the relationship because it's not fair to either of us. But at the time, I was ready to, you know, do whatever it took to make it work because I was just done with the petty emotional shit. And it seemed like a normal, healthy adult relationship right up until the day we broke up. The day before, I had wanted to walk to the park from the vet because we'd taken an Uber to the vet to take his dog there because I'd tried to cut the dog's nails because they let their dog's nails grow obscenely long. Like, they're like, she doesn't like to have her nails done. And I'm like, oh my god, no dog likes to have their nails done. And this dog's nails were literally like growing back into its pads. And I cut most of them, but I couldn't get one of them. And I was so sure it wasn't grown, and it was definitely causing the dog pain. And I'm like, I'll pay for it if you just, it's like, I'll pay for an Uber, I'll pay for the vet costs, because it costs like $10 at a vet to go get their nails clipped. Just, please help me take the dog to the vet, because this bothers me. Because I really liked his dogs. So we went to the vet. That isn't part of any of the problem, but looking back, this is also maybe a sign that he wasn't right for me, because I could never do that to a dog. But I wanted to walk to the park from the vet because I thought it would be fun for the dog. And I'm all about fun for dogs. You know me. Awesome. Jasper's over there being skeptical about, I don't know, Mommy. I'm not so sure about you and this fun for dogs thing. Oh, it won't focus while it's, well, anyway. I'll put a picture of Jasper in post in editing right now. You're now seeing a picture of Jasper through the magic of editing. Anyway, back to the story. Yeah. I ended up not being able to... The park was literally, we could see the park from the vet, but I hadn't eaten anything all day because I had been at his house, and I don't like eating at places that aren't my house because I'm just weird. I'm just weird, okay? Don't even ask. I'm just weird. And so I don't like eating at places that aren't my house. So I hadn't eaten all day. My blood pressure bottomed out. I turned white as a ghost. And I'm like, I have to sit down now. But I mean, he knows. It wasn't like he didn't know I was, like, prone to these things happening. He had heard about them in mythical legend and lore. But, you know, he had never seen them with his own eyes, and so it sort of scared him, and I felt really bad about it. But my dad came and picked us up and, you know, took us back to his house, to my boyfriend's house, my ex-boyfriend's house. And, you know, and we hung out and we talked all afternoon, and the next day I'm texting him and we're figuring out what we're going to do because it was his other day off. And so, I don't know, it seemed fine. Everything seemed fine. Everything seemed fine until the day after I had that episode on our walk. Well, actually, no. Everything was fine. That morning, in fact, he echoed my, like, thing that I say all the time of, oh, I can see myself spending my whole life with you. It's like I didn't say that morning to him. It's like I didn't put the idea in its head. It's just, in his head. It's just like he said that to me and that he had that sentiment. And I'm like, oh, okay, it's like, oh, okay, well, this is a guy that feels the same way I do, blah, blah, blah. I asked him if he wanted to do anything. He said no. I'm like, okay, well, I'll talk to you later. And then later he comes back and talks to me and he's like, I think we need some time apart. And I'm like, we were fine this morning. What the hell happened? Who the hell did you meet? And then he's like, oh, no one. I didn't meet anyone. I promise, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, this is about yesterday. Because I knew it was about yesterday. We had never had a problem. The point I'm trying to make here, despite my rant, is that this hasn't just happened to me. But nice guys all the time are just dumping my friends, my spoonie friends, because they have a pain flare, or they realize that they can't do this for the rest of their lives. It's like it's something about them all of a sudden. But no. It's like, how the fuck can you make my illness about you? It's like, and I haven't finished my story. The rest of my story goes on that he blocks me on Facebook, says he never wants to talk to me, so every time I try to get in touch with him, his friends or his father, he literally had his father, like, text me on his phone and say, stop texting this number. And his father answered the phone, I think, one time when I called him and said, stop calling him, he doesn't want to talk to you, blah, 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 all this. But the thing is, why I was trying so terribly, terribly hard to get in touch with him was because I found out I was pregnant. And no, it wasn't a lie. And no, it wasn't drama. And several weeks later, I miscarried our child. And I did it alone. And I still haven't had a period. So I don't know if this affects my fertility in the future. I haven't had any treatment. I mean, I don't know anything. Because I'm afraid. I'm afraid to go into a doctor and say, hey, I was a moron. It's like, oh, and where's moron number 2? Oh, well, moron number 2 is out living his life. Moron number 2 is out having no knowledge of anything that ever happened, moron number 2 doesn't have to do this, because moron number 2 can walk away and I can't. I'm sorry. He can walk away from this situation. And I have to keep living it. I have to keep living it until the day my period comes back. Until I talk to a doctor about what happened. I have to keep living it because you can't. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cry. But because memories like that, memories of going through that kind of thing alone, don't go away. And I'm not saying that my story matters any more than any girl who was just dumped and that's it. Because the thing is, we all have to keep going through it alone. It's not just about a miscarriage. It's about being sick. They decide it makes us defective. And they go on and live their lives. And we keep going through it alone. All of us. All the time. For the rest of our lives. It's a terrifying feeling. But the thing is, you're not alone. That's why I made this video. I want you to know you're not alone. And I want to feel that I'm not alone either. I want to believe I'm not. I know there are people out there who have the opinion that, oh, you can't possibly put this burden upon them, or oh, you can't possibly. But you know what? I'm not a burden. I'm a person. My friends, they aren't burdens. They're people with names and stories and hobbies. We're people.